Good afternoon or good morning for some of you. We've got about 4 or 5 minutes before the start time, but welcome to the webinar on payroll and benefits built for construction. We'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. I'll probably give another warning in about 2 or 3 minutes before we kick off. Hello again, everyone. We're just a couple minutes away from starting. I've got, well, 12:58 here, Eastern time. So give us just a couple more minutes and we'll get started. Okay, Alex, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, you ready to roll?
I'm ready to roll if you are.
I am. All right. Well, again, good afternoon and good morning to some of you. Thank you for joining us. Today's webinar is titled Payroll and Benefits Built for Construction. It's being put on by Payroll4Construction, which is one of the many products under the Foundation software family of products, as well as by the ABC Insurance Trust. We'll talk about how payroll and benefits can be uniquely structured for construction businesses, but we'll also talk about it within the context of the ABC, of the Associated Builders and Contractors, and how some of the things that Payroll4Construction and the ABC Insurance Trust are really catered towards ABC members. This webinar will take, about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on questions. Right up front here, as one of the members of the ABC family of organizations that support you, I want to say thank you to the folks at Foundation Software and Payroll4Construction. They've been a business partner of the ABC now. Alex, I think it's for over 20 years. And so the amount of time and money over those years that their organization has invested in the ABC and its membership at the national and chapter level is immense. And I just want to say on behalf of ABC, thank you, Foundation Software. So on the screen here, you see the two folks that are going to be talking at you today, or maybe I should say talking with you. Sounds less direct. This is Adam Bonsky. I've been in employee benefits now for coming up on 30 years next month. That explains the hair-free look I have. I've been working at big banks and insurance companies, third-party administrators. I spent 11 years at Fringe Benefit Group, who is also an ABC partner. And it was during that time that I came to know how to structure benefits for construction companies, particularly for contractors who bid on and performed on government contracts. So now I've been the CEO of the ABC Insurance Trust now for coming up on 2 years, and we've got a lot of things in the works, some of which we'll talk about on the call here today. So I'll pass the microphone quickly over to Alex to introduce himself, and then we'll dive into the presentation.
Thank you, Adam. Hello, everyone, and thank you for taking the time to join us today for the partner webinar that we're putting on today. And also, Adam, while I have a moment, we do want to say thank you for your guys' partnership with Foundation Software here. We truly enjoy the business we have done with you guys over the years here. But for everyone else on the call, my name is Alex Gray here, the other one that you're seeing on this slide up in front of you. I am one of the regional sales managers here at Payroll4Construction. I have been in this role for 4 years now. When I started with the company here, went from a support role to a training role, kind of was in on the setups for the companies here, kind of discussing how those payrolls need to be set up, especially when it comes to benefits tracking for those prevailing wage contractors. So I've been doing this for a number of years here now, and one of 2 regional sales managers here on our team. So anyone today, if you have any questions, you want to take a look at our services or anything else that I can do to help, contact information is here. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to have a conversation of how we can help your team here. But I'll step aside here for a moment. I'll pass it back over to Adam here, and he's going to go ahead and get things started for us.
Thanks, Alex. All right, well, let's start off by talking about the ABC Insurance Trust. First of all, the trust has been around for a long time. It was first founded back in 1957 by ABC National as a resource for members when it came to their employee benefits. And at the time, it was an association health plan, so it provided a major medical solution for members. Obviously, as you might assume, it's evolved a lot since 1957. In 1997, the trust formed its own agency called the ABC Insurance Services Division of the trust. And so with the trust, there are a number of multiple employer products that mainly fall into the category of health. So things like dental, vision, life insurance, vision. Those are the types of benefits that are pooled together in the trust and pooled at the insurance company such that the members can get better rates. The agency allows us to work with a contractor with any benefits they like. In some cases, the trust products don't work for them. And so we can write virtually any type of coverage for a contractor, whether it's major medical, dental, vision, life insurance, disability, with just about any carrier in your local area. So we have the trust products that I would call sort of shelf products, pooled products, but we also have the agency that allows us in more or less an open architecture format to figure out whatever else your company might need to completely fill in your employee benefits picture. We are one of the ABC family organizations that is dedicated to serving the membership. We're an ERISA trust, so our focus is not on profit. We don't have shareholders or an owner that expects a 20 or 25% profit margin. And so the good news there is that we can use some of that revenue that comes into the trust to bring down the cost of benefits for the members. There's really three main things we use our revenue for. It's to pay for the cost of our staff. Secondly, it's to bring down the cost of benefits. And we'll talk about some ways where we do that for ABC members. And thirdly, we support ABC at the national and at the local level, the chapter level. One example of that, you can see the picture over to the right. The folks at Payroll4Construction and the ABC Insurance Trust are the sustainability sponsor for all of the ABC national events this year. We're supplying these black water bottles at all the national events in lieu of plastic water bottles. So we're saving the ABC a lot of money in buying all those wasteful water bottles. We're also supplying water refilling stations at all the events. So those are the three things that we use money for, or the revenue that we generate from the products that we put in place with our clients. And we'll talk in a few slides here other ways that we use those dollars to help members. Now, some people say, well, Adam, who's your boss? Who do you report to? So I report to a board of trustees, and those 7 trustees are members of the ABC and clients of the trust. And so we meet probably 6 or 8 times a year and evaluate our products, evaluate our finances, and have general board member meetings to make sure that what we're doing at the trust is aligned with what members expect. And we're always looking for new trustees. So if any of you are looking to give back some of your time to the ABC, please let us know. We're always looking for new board members. We currently serve about 1,000 ABC members across the country, and we have 70 some odd insurance carriers and healthcare programs across the country that we're appointed with, and always adding more where needed. We serve all sizes of contractors. We have a small market solution for contractors as small as 2 employees covered up to 15. And then if your company has 16 covered employees on benefits or more, then a member of our team directly works with you to figure out the best array of benefits for you. I often say that, hey, look, there's a lot of benefits advisors out there, but at least give the ABC Insurance Trust a look, because chances are we're going to know a little more about you than the average broker, and we're probably going to be lower cost. And by the way, you get to keep it within the family, if you will, within ABC, and some of those funds can go to continuing to help ABC's efforts around the country. So next slide, Alex. So as I mentioned, we are primarily focused on employee benefits. We do understand the construction industry quite well, having worked with contractors for several decades now, myself included. Also, we've got a deep bit of knowledge around Davis-Bacon and prevailing wage. So to the extent any questions come up for you around how to comply with the bona fide benefit rules, you can always hit us up. We have cost. We're really here to be a resource, not only to help be your advisor if you need it, but just a source of information and expertise should you need it as you're working on projects. One thing I want to mention, and not spend a ton of time on, is that we have some unique administrative tools that make accounting for benefits simpler. One of those things is what we call dollar banking. Some people in the industry know it as hour banking, but essentially it's really frustrating for contractors because a lot of their world is in an hourly mode, if you will. And all of employee benefits, especially the premium, is all paid on a monthly basis. So hour banking or dollar banking allows you to break that monthly premium down into an hourly rate. And at that point, the contractor just needs to know how many hours the employee worked each month, multiply it by the hourly rate, and submit that contribution to the trust. What's great about that is you know exactly how much you're spending on every hour worked towards benefits. And then in months where the employees are working overtime, they're banking up extra hours, such that when there's work stoppages or the winter comes around and your employees can't work, you have hours in the bank that you can use during those slow months to keep them on benefit throughout the year. So again, don't want to dive in too deeply, but hour banking, or dollar banking as we call it, can be a really powerful tool for contractors, especially those that experience fluctuations in hours with their workforce. All right, next slide, Alex. As I mentioned earlier, we have several trust products or multiple employer products that are pulled together to allow for contractors who are using those products to experience lower and stable rates over time. Some of the products that are on that shelf include dental, vision, life insurance, short-term and long-term disability. Some of those products, including the dental, have had the same rates now for over 10 years. So those contractors using those programs have not experienced an increase in those premiums across those products for quite a long time. We do have employer contributory and fully voluntary options available, and some pretty neat plan designs that include pretty rich benefits. So more to follow to the extent you want to look into these products. In certain parts of the country, they're clearly more competitive than others, but where they are competitive, they're highly valuable, low cost, rich plans, and have stable rates over a long period of time. Next slide, Alex. You know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, our core reason for being is around service. It's not around profit, because we are a trust. Every year in July, we file a 5500. Because we're an ERISA trust, we're required to do that. And so to the extent you ever are curious enough to see where that trust money goes, where our revenue goes, you can see it. It's all reported, fully transparent in our 5500. So what we're all about is service of ABC members, and what we'd like to do over the next 3 years is double the number of members that we serve. And we think there's plenty of room to do that, especially considering there are over 20,000 ABC members. And so one of the ways we put that revenue to work is to help our contractor members pay for some of the administrative services that they have to pay for, in addition to the premium they pay for the benefits they offer. So it's not just the premium that can be expensive, it's also the administration that can be expensive as well, and you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on it. So these are things that we can defray the cost on, you know, things like COBRA administration or Section 125 implementation or management. Many of you may offer HSAs, HRAs, or FSAs. Those can get expensive. If you're a larger employer, you have ACA reporting that you have to do every year. So we have a service that provides those tools and reporting, and we can defray the cost of that. Some of you will have an employee benefits administration module or an enrollment system that your employees use. That's also an area where we can help defray the cost using our revenue to bring down the amount you have to spend out of pocket to manage those benefits. So again, give us a look. Worst case, we can't do as well or better than what your current advisor is doing, but in a lot of cases we can. And if we can save you money, save you some hassle, keep us in mind. Last but not least, if you could flip to the next slide, Alex. This is a huge announcement that's coming out here shortly next month in partnership with the ABC and at the chapter level here in the coming months. We are about to roll out a one-of-a-kind construction healthcare captive. It's going to be called the Construction Healthcare Alliance. It will be for members only of the ABC. As many of you probably would agree, it's kind of maddening that healthcare costs just continue to go up, generally faster than inflation. And meanwhile, it seems like the care for our employees is decreasing. So it's not a great formula. So the Alliance, or the healthcare captive, allows ABC members to join together, combine their resources, share best practices with their fellow members, and bring down the cost of care. Members will experience anywhere from 15 to 30% savings in year one, and then within the captive look to stabilize those rates year over year following. Meanwhile, the intention of the captive is to not only reduce that cost, but also bring in and use some of those savings to offer employees better care, health coaches, people who can work with them one-on-one to bring them better services and really look at the whole of a person, not just when they're sick. So please consider the captive in the coming months as you hear about it as a potential resource for you. Not everybody will be a good fit for it, but we can put together a proposal for you and see if you are. And then over time, we'll continue to bring this captive to more and more members of ABC. We're going to start with and need to start with larger members to get that critical mass, that scale up front. But then over time, we'll bring it down to contractors as small as 25 employees. So with that, Alex, I'm going to be passing the microphone over to you. Just want to say what a great partner you are for the trust. Payroll for Construction is the only payroll service that we refer our clients to. In my mind, they're truly one of a kind as well, in that I only know of them as being the only payroll construction service that only focuses on contractors. Everybody you talk to at Payroll for Construction, when they pick up the phone and the service team or the sales team or somebody writing code or anybody in the operations areas, all of those folks only work with construction companies. And so when you call there or when you look at their products, they're all uniquely designed for construction companies. And so that's where we feel like we need to refer our business. So with that, Alex, pass the microphone over to you. And as we said earlier, we'll take questions at the end. We'll open up the microphone and let people ask them. So you all set, Alex?
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Great stuff there, Adam. Thanks for passing the torch over here. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and then discuss what Payroll for Construction does to track all this information, those benefits that we're offering to those employees, as well as have your employees get paid. And with us being a full service payroll provider, also handle those tax filings and payments for you as well. So first slide here, meet Payroll for Construction. Who are we? We're an online payroll service provider, like Adam had just mentioned, just for the construction industry. With payroll processing available in all 50 states, does not matter if my contractors out there are working in 1 state, 2 states, 5 states, 10 states, does not matter. We'll be able to handle the reporting and the tracking for any states that your team is working in. And what also makes us different is we're powered by foundation software with over 35 years of experience in the construction industry. So like Adam had mentioned, a number of products under that foundation software umbrella, where Foundation, some of the audience may have heard of them, offers a full job cost ERP accounting software known as Foundation, but they were founded in 1984, but in 2006, the team realized that, hey, not everyone needs the full power of the accounting system here. What's one of the things that is great inside that system is our powerful payroll module with our job costing tracking there as well. So what we did was pulled out that payroll module, the job costing parts of the general ledger, and created today what is known as Payroll for Construction, that full service payroll provider. So we'll handle the paying of your employees via check or direct deposit, handle the tax filings and payments for your team, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual filings, can handle any federal, state, local authorities, FUTA and SUTA, as well as the filing and distribution of employee W-2s come year end. And also, the system will also automate reports like job costing, those prevailing wage, government contractors there, those certified payroll reports, going to have print and also electronic file creations for the uploading online for things like LCP Tracker, the California DIR, Astroware. Cover how those are generated in the system here a little bit later on in the discussion today, as well as EEO, minority compliance reporting, going to have print and also electronic file creation versions of EEO minority compliance reports there as well. Staying on the topic of that construction specific payroll. So again, like I just mentioned, those that are working across multiple states, or maybe my contractors that are working in states like Ohio, Kentucky, where we'll have multiple localities. one employee could be working on 3 different job sites in 1 week, and he has 3 different taxing jurisdictions he's jumping under as he's traveling across 3 different localities. So the system, as we code time into it, the setup that's completed behind the scenes is going to do the legwork for us, tracking the corresponding taxing information we need for these employees as we're coding hours into the system. And as you guys said, submit your payroll to our team. As your payroll service provider, we will then handle the tax filings and payments of those federal, state, local authorities, where those funds need to go for those actual tax tracking for your team there. But also then inside the system here is we're going to be able to create more automation when it comes to pay rates for that prevailing wage, that Davis-Bacon work, where we need to pay our employees an above scale rate of pay. So once I jump into the system here in a moment, you're going to see that we'll have pay rate tables that can be set up behind the scenes for our prevailing wage jobs, where on the employee record, we can set up and house their private commercial rate. Hey, Rick's getting paid $15 an hour when we have him on a private commercial job, but hey, he's working on job 12 today, prevailing wage job, and we got to pay him maybe $22 an hour, for my example, for that prevailing wage rate. Gonna be able to have the system automatically pull in the corresponding rate of pay on a job by job basis as we're bringing time into the system here. That those of you, again, with that prevailing wage work, we know that comes with that fringe calculation, that prevailing wage fringe. So we'll have another separate table where we're then able to set up that prevailing wage fringe information. And again, as we code time into the system, going to automatically track where we stand with our fringes for our employees, can even get those broken out on a trade by trade basis of how those fringes need to be calculated. Then the point right under here, that prevailing wage fringe reduction factor, that fringe credit. So, hey, we're already offering our employees benefits here, and let's say for my example, we're offering them $12 an hour in benefits. And for this prevailing wage job that's coming up here, we're going to be required to offer them $7 an hour in those fringe benefits. So instead of, like we see people tracking this information manually, they don't have a way to do it, where they'll then just go ahead and pay that 12 and that 7 on top of each other, and they're then distributing $19 an hour in fringe benefits, where they're already providing that $12 an hour. So with that 7, we can take it and reduce it down by the 5 here and have that fringe reduction factor broken out. So you're not overpaying, double paying your employees when it comes to those prevailing wage fringes. And the last point in the slide here, workers' compensation policy. So our team will take that workers' compensation policy, we'll get that set up inside the system, can even have it broken out by the classes, the type of work that's being performed by our team, and can even set up caps to what's ultimately being exposed to that workers' comp. So you're not overpaying when it comes to that policy. Have a nice report that we can run that shows us the full breakdown of where we stand on a class by class basis with all those employees that fell under that type of work performed. Second one here, so then with that construction specific payroll comes that construction specific reporting. So again, that prevailing wage, Davis-Bacon work, hey, we're being required to generate a certified payroll report here. Now, with our system, no longer are you going to have to create these certified payroll reports, fill them out manually inside the office. We're going to have, again, like I mentioned, a print and electronic upload formats for those certified payrolls. So I have over 40 different print options available inside that system for certified payroll reports to be ran. That generic WH347, then also state, city specific formats that our team is staying up to date. If those certified payroll report formats change, our team as that provider with that system will make sure that format gets updated inside of your system. No additional charge, all included as a Payroll for Construction client. Then on the other hand, those that have electronic uploads, again, like working in the state of Maryland or the California DIR, Astroware, EMARS, LCP Tracker, where after that payroll's processed, time to run that certified payroll report, you access the electronic format, you run the certified payroll report for that period, we'll generate the XLF file upload for you, where you save it to your desktop, you upload it to your online portal, no more manual entry, filling out those certified payroll reports by hand. Going to be the same for our minority compliance, EEO reporting, going to have print and electronic versions of those reports available inside the system there as well. And also going to automate the process of our job labor, burden cost reports, as all of this information is going to be generated by the system as we're coding time into the system and posting that payroll. Data seamlessly flows into those reports. Will allow you to run those at any point in time inside your database to see where your team stands, what our employees are hitting us when it comes to payroll. And also, again, workers' compensation, get that policy set up, have a number of ways that we can have that report to be ran, broken out by class, or get down into a class or earn code by earn code basis for our employees, see exactly where you stand for that workers' comp, what the workers' compensation payments amounts then stand for the team. Then also too, tracking of insurance information, 401k benefits, all can be set up on that employee record. Again, you guys working with the ABC Insurance Trust will get those benefits set up, have them automatically tracked inside that system. Then also too, if any of our team members have a garnishment order, child support, alimony, tax garnishment, be able to send that garnishment order over to our team. And then we do offer an optional service where once that garnishment amount is withheld, our team can then handle the sending of the garnishment information where it needs to go after the amount is withheld from the employee's pay, if you wanted to outsource the garnishment handling to our team. Then what we do, again, at our core, we're still going to be that traditional full service payroll provider. So we're going to pay the employees via check or direct deposit. We can mail any live checks to the employees' addresses for distribution, or mail the checks to the office for you to then distribute to the employees. Then we're also going to pay your taxes, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual tax filings, federal, state, local authorities, FUTA and SUTA, as well as those quarterly and annual returns, 940s, 941s, and then offer the W-2s, where with the service, if anyone were to transition to Payroll for Construction in the middle of the year, we already have payroll history for the type of work that's been performed here. We'll be sure that all payroll history is up to date inside of your system, what has been done so far this year. So that once we take you live, then come W-2 time at year end, employees will only receive one W-2 from Payroll for Construction. Then what else makes us different here? So we're going to have a direct integration with QuickBooks and other accounting programs out there. So we're built on that foundation job cost accounting system. We'll directly integrate with that foundation accounting package, but we're also able to stand alone, integrate with packages, QuickBooks, Sage, other accounting programs out there where once payroll is processed in our system, we're then able to pass that information back into your accounting program so we can keep all of our financials up to date in our main accounting package, essentially trick that system into thinking payroll was ran there, but in reality, you ran it through Payroll for Construction. And again, like we had been mentioning here, our only focus is construction here. We have a staff of professionals experienced with construction payroll that are available to assist. Our support team trained only on our system in-house, only dealing with the construction industry. I'll be able to call in. Someone could then take a look at your system, answer any questions, what may be going on with your payroll system there. And also here, we do offer a mobile time card application here that syncs directly with our payroll system for the tracking of the employee hours, help kind of automate that process for the tracking of payroll information. But those of you in the audience that may be already working with a mobile provider here, we have the ability to import a time card file into our time card system. So if you're using a provider out there, like About Time for my example here, we do have ways that we can pull information from your current mobile application via configured file, pull that into the system, keep automating of that employee hours tracking, and not have to pull you off your current mobile package that you may be utilizing that your team in the field is already very familiar with. Then again, like I already mentioned, web-based access from anytime, anywhere with an internet connection. Open your laptop, PC, go ahead, log in to Payroll for Construction there. And also the last note on this slide, after payroll is processed, we do offer an online stub portal for employees to receive their pay stubs electronically if you wanted to give them the access to log in online and see that pay information there. So what I will do here next is I'm going to go ahead and jump into my actual Payroll for Construction database here. So what you are now seeing is the home dashboard for Payroll for Construction. So again, like I had mentioned, we're powered on that foundation software accounting system, but what we're only utilizing here as a payroll only client is that payroll module, job costing, and that general ledger. Then with the service, if you guys were to move forward, we get you assigned with an implementation specialist. They'll go ahead, you'll start with a blank database copy. We're going to build this from the ground up to only house the information that your team needs for your payroll run. So one of the first places we'll start it is going to be that payroll maintenance, where this is going to be where we'll set up your employees. We'll also set up that benefits information, what we need to track, what we're providing to these employees to help automate the process of that tracking. Then again, we're providing those benefits. The system's going to do the legwork, track where we stand, have reports, files that we can run to pull where we stand with that benefit information. Then also, again, going to set up your workers' compensation policy, have that broken out by the types of work being performed, the types of classes that our team has, can even have caps set up to what's ultimately being exposed, so we're not overpaying when it comes to workers' comp. Then have a nice report that we could run to see the full breakdown of where we stand. But on the screen here, that really what sets us apart from other providers out there is we're going to have that construction specific language. So again, that prevailing wage, government contractors, like I had mentioned, we're able to set up on the employee record here and house their private commercial rate of pay for us here. Hey, we're just giving Rick $15 an hour. Go ahead and get that set up on his employee record. But hey, we get a prevailing wage job. We have a separate list of prevailing wage rates as well as a prevailing wage fringe that we're going to need to track for this project. So behind the scenes, able to then come in and set up the pay rate tables of what is going on for this job here. So hey, my prevailing wage job 1, prevailing wage 97021, whatever language you want this table to be set up as, familiarize yourself with that job and its pay rates. Then go ahead and list out for the type of work being performed, the rate of pay for our employees. Then able to take this pay rate table, tie it directly to the job record. So then as we're coding time into the system, hey, Rick, he's supposed to get $15 an hour on that private commercial job, but for my job 97021, he was working as an iron worker. He's going to then have the system pull in that above scale rate of pay. So we'll be able to look and pull in the higher of the two rates for our employees. A limited number of tables can be set up here as well behind the scenes. Can timestamp them with effective dates. So again, have the system set up to do the legwork, automate the process of assigning out the corresponding rates of pay. Then also with that prevailing wage job comes that prevailing wage fringe here. So if we're working with a fringe benefit group or just paying that prevailing wage fringe as a cash fringe to the employee's paycheck, we're going to be able to handle that for you, where no matter if all trades are being paid at the same rate here, or we need to go down and get in set up on a trade by trade basis for that prevailing wage fringe, have separate tables again behind the scenes that will go ahead and give you the training on how to get these set up, manage inside the system where, hey, this is a prevailing wage fringe, whatever code will get it set up to familiarize yourself with that fringe information, how it needs to be calculated, the rate it's calculated at, control how it's taxed, can even set up limits, what's going on with that prevailing wage fringe. Have those separate tables behind the scenes that, again, once it's set up, tie that over to the job record. The system will then be able to tell what is a private commercial job, what is a prevailing wage job for us here, and pull in all the corresponding payroll information that needs to be tracked. Close out there. Then also, again, like I had mentioned earlier in the PowerPoint deck, going to also be able to handle that prevailing wage fringe reduction, that fringe credit here. So get the full breakdown of how those employees need that fringe reduced here. Then, hey, whatever benefits that we're already offering with our employees, how we need to get that broken out, like vision, dental, medical, however we want that fringe to be broken out then for our employees, whether it's hourly, per pay, or percentage, able to then set up that prevailing wage fringe reduction factor. So the system's going to automate it for us. And so no more tracking this information manually, or maybe even overpaying, double paying on that fringe, those benefits when it comes to our employees here. Then also, so payroll maintenance has been completed here. Then also the team will give you the training on that job cost maintenance here. So with us being able to pass information back into your current accounting package, then also needing to run prevailing wage certified payroll reports inside the system, we will need to get jobs set up inside your database here. But on that job record then, with that system, we would want the job name and number to match how it appears inside your current accounting package there. So with the actual job setup, combination of letters, numbers, dashes does not matter with what's going on with that job name and number setup here. Just again, want that to match how it appears inside that system. Then also on the main tab, hey, my job that I just set up here, I'm going to need a certified payroll report generated here. Simply come down, turn this checkbox on, opens you up to any one of the certified payroll report options available inside the Payroll4Construction system. Then to get this job to be classified as a prevailing wage job inside the system. Like I said, we can have that pull in the corresponding rates, track that fringe information for our employees on a job by job basis. Come up to the certified payroll tab at the top here, go ahead, then select that pay rate table that was set up, as well as that prevailing wage fringe table. Click OK to save. Then as we're coding time into the system, we'll then pull in the corresponding rate of pay, as well as track that prevailing wage fringe information that was tied to that job record set up behind the scenes here. Go ahead and close out there. Also too, inside payroll maintenance, if any contractors there are recording hours against a specific list of cost codes, specific list of task codes, can also get these imported, set up inside the system that we can have that broken out for payroll information on a cost code by cost code basis. Or also, hey, you don't really want as much detailed job cost information with how you guys are set up now, can just record that information against a generic labor cost code here as well. But then once our system's then set up here, payroll maintenance is completed, job cost maintenance is completed here, then hours are then entered into the system by our team. So again, we're able to directly integrate with our mobile application that we provide here, or also are able to import time cards from other providers out there. With that time card import feature, you simply come OK and click OK. Then on the time card here in the system, your team comes up to the top here, clicks the import button. The one-time import sequence layout that's set up by our training team, where all your team needs to do then is select browse, select the file where it was saved on your computer. See a quick little preview here at the bottom of those hours. Now I click finish, click close. The system has then brought in our hours based on what was being recorded in our mobile application here, or also too, at the very least, can manually enter a time card into the system here. Then with my time card here, my pay rates, my tables are all left out because once I come up and click OK, the system is then able to go in and say, hey, my job 12 here, this is a private commercial job. It's telling me that as well because there's no table that's tied to it behind the scenes for those pay rates. Pulling in Rick's $15 an hour pay rate, but then my job 97051, job 97021 is able to then know that this was a prevailing wage job. We have that above scale rate of pay we need to bring in, telling me that I have a table tied to this job, then pulling in the corresponding rate of pay for my employees here. No more manually going through and making sure each pay rate ties out. The system will look at that job record, look at what type of work, what trade our employee was working under, will then pull in that corresponding rate of pay, doing the legwork for us here. Close out there. Then once the hours have been brought into the system here, a number of reports for you guys to utilize to see where the payroll hours, the calculations stand before our team ever touches that payroll for payroll processing. So with the hours breakout, time card list proofing report here, I'm gonna meet you with the criteria tab with our reports inside the system. So if I simply just run this report right now, going to show me all my employee hours that have been entered across the jobs in that week, giving me my employee subtotals. Now, those of you in the audience may say, hey, we don't really review our hours broken out on an employee by employee basis across a week. We like to see everything with our job subtotals of our hours here, but not a problem. Back in that criteria tab here, can simply go ahead, change how this information is being formatted here. That, hey, I don't want to see employee subtotals. I want to see my job subtotals. Rerun that same time card list. Now, getting those hours formatted for review in the way that that user wants them formatted for the review process for them, and can even set up custom defaults on a user by user basis of how you want this report to be formatted inside that payroll system. So the next time you access it, it's already formatted for you, ready for review. Close out there. Then inside that system as well, a number of pre-check registers. Picture these as calculators to see where all payroll information stands before our team ever touches it for payroll processing. Then we're good to go here. Come over to the left, click submit payroll, sends a copy of your database to our team for payroll processing. Within the hour, have that payroll processed. We'll give you a full report breakdown, total amount of checks, direct deposits, total tax liability that was handled by our team in that week. Like to say, hey, once you click submit, you could essentially walk away from payroll in that week. Your employees will be paid, your tax filings and payments will be handled by the Payroll4Construction team as your service provider. Now, our employees have been paid, payroll's good to go here. Now, let's get into the biggest portion of the system here, those payroll reports. So inside the payroll report section here, that workers' compensation policy here, again, we'll go ahead, get that set up inside the system here, can run it with a high-level overview, giving me a class breakdown of where all of my classes stand, my operators, electricians, laborers here. Now, with this report, you say, hey, Alex, this is, again, just a high-level overview for us here. Maybe it's audit time. We're going through an audit. We're going to need more breakdown with workers' comp than this. Again, those criteria tabs inside the system allow us to then control how we want this report to be formatted, then switch that report format. Now I'm getting the full breakdown of that policy, my operators, electricians, laborers, showing me my employees. And for my example here, Arthur, 2 hours of overtime, $63 was his gross earnings, but based on the caps that have been set up, only $42 was exposed to that workers' comp, automatically tracked by the system here, then pulling this information out for you guys, giving you that full breakdown of where you stand with that policy. Close out there. Then again, print and electronic versions of the EEO minority compliance reports available inside of our system here, as well as a number of other reports, earnings and deductions reports, employee wage details, all included in the charge of being a Payroll4Construction client here. You can run them as many times as you want, all available inside the system. But another big one here today to cover during this webinar are certified payroll reports here. So again, like I mentioned, going to be able to handle electronic and print formats for those certified payroll reports. You have an upload online electronic portal you're uploading to, DIR, Ash2Ware, EMARS, LCP tracker. Come down, select your format that you need here. Click OK. Then come up, enter the date range you need that certified to be ran for, then where we want this to be saved on our computer. Then the system is generating the XLS file upload for us. So once I run my LCP tracker report here, it's creating that file upload, where once I come up and click close, file's not been created, create file now, click yes, saves that to my desktop. Maybe you have a folder that you set up that you're saving all those files to, saves it there. Then you pull that file, you log into the LCP tracker online, you upload the file, then your certified payroll report has been completed for you. No more manual entry of certified information into that online portal. Going to be the same case for those certified payroll print formats here. So you access the certified payroll print portion of the system. And again, like I mentioned, over 40 different print certified formats available inside that database. State, city, specific formats that our team is staying up to date with the formats of the reports. If something changes, we'll go ahead and get that up to date inside the system. Scroll through and show you what we'll all be able to handle here for the creations there. Then the generic one I'll show today here, that WH347, go ahead and run that certified report. System can even pull in no work performed certified reports for your team, but as you go through, have that information broken out by job, shows the full breakdown of what we need to be entered on that certified report. The system is filling this out for us here. So if there's a spot for it on the certified report, there's a spot for it to be tracked inside of our database. No more manual entry of those certified reports. Then also too, we'll even generate those signature pages for us as well. So once you're good to go, you run that certified report, you go ahead, PDF it, pull it outside the system. It's ready to then be sent off where it needs to go. The last report I'll cover on today's webinar for those in the audience is our burden employee summary report. So with payroll here, hey, we're paying Rick $15 an hour, but once we bring in burden, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' comp, Rick's more so going to be costing us $25 an hour, $26 an hour with all that burden coming into account here. So our burden employee summary report here, run the report, show us all of our employees, the jobs that they've worked across for that period, hours, earnings, but bringing in all of our burden calculations so we can then see the true average hourly rate down to the penny of what our employees are actually costing us when it comes to our payroll runs here. Then also too, with our reports inside the system, PDF, Word, Excel, CSV, click a button, save it to your desktop. Very easy to pull reports outside of the Payroll for Construction system here. But high level overview of the Payroll for Construction database here. What I'll do next here is I'm going to go ahead and bring back up the PowerPoint presentation. And what I will do for those in the audience here is I'll go ahead and open up to any questions that you may have for myself or for Adam here. Feel free to go ahead and throw them in the chat here today. Or if you have a question, you want to set up a time to discuss our payroll service here in more detail, be happy to set up a one-on-one call. I'll pull up my information here again, as well as Adam's in a moment for those to make note of. Again, feel free to give us a call, shoot us an email here at any time. Happy to hold a conversation of how our team can help the payroll, what's going on with your team there in the field and in the office.
Looks like we did a good job, Alex.
Not seeing anything right now here. And what I will also mention too, Adam, is a question that I typically get towards the end of the webinars here. If anyone in the audience ever needs to cut a layoff check in the middle of a payroll run for a team member, that's not a problem with Payroll for Construction. You have an off-cycle pay period that you would be able to enter that payroll information into. Then the layoff check info, cut that check outside the system at that point in time, get that employee paid, and then we'll, next time you process the payroll run, be able to see that layoff check information, get everything up to date when it comes to taxing information on the payroll side of things. So I'll make that note there, as that is a question I typically see towards the end here.
You know, Alex, too, I talk to payroll companies that say that they quote unquote do certified payroll, and come to find out in many cases that it's really a third-party application that they're interfacing with, and so it's not on board, but they have a solution, if you will, through a third party or through a middleware. And while that might be functional, it seems to me there's a lot of room for you know, things getting lost in translation or in transition. And the fact that your certified payroll reporting functionality is all right on board and integrated, you know, to me just cuts down on, you know, the chance for things not getting done right.
Yep, exactly. You're exactly right there. And then too, with that integration they're passing between another portal, they're maybe working with two different companies, one for payroll, one for then that certified payroll reports, where with our system, like we had just discussed and showed the audience here, it's all generated in one spot, only working under one roof, under the Payroll for Construction umbrella there.
Yeah. You know, it does get tricky too on benefits to make sure that you annualize your health benefits. You know, that is that you pay the same hourly rate for all hours worked, public and private. And you can see through the system here how you can demonstrate that pretty clearly if you were to be audited.
Yep. Oh yeah, the system's going to do that legwork for you, automate the process, that tracking of that information inside the system. And looks like we might have one question for you there in the chat, Adam. Someone asked, did I hear correctly that medical benefits start at 25 employees?
So the ABC Insurance Trust can help contractors that have down to 2 people enrolled or that they desire to have enrolled on their health plans. So we have a small group solution for companies that have 2 to 15 employees enrolled or that they'd like to have enrolled. And then we have a larger group solution for anyone with 16 enrolled or more. So really, we've got help for people with employees all the way down to 2 enrolled. It's just a question of who on our team that you'll work with based on your size. And then lastly, I did mention at the end there that we're coming out with a healthcare captive across the country. And that will be, in the beginning, something that will be best suited for larger contractors. But over time, in the coming months, we'll bring the size requirement down as that captive grows and gains critical mass. But the captive aside, if you just want help with your benefits, we can help you all the way down to 2 people enrolled.
All right, so what I'll do then, Adam, doesn't look like we have any other questions here, so I'll go ahead and bring up our wonderful pictures and our contact information here one more time for the audience. If anyone has anything for myself that I can assist with, Adam's information's up there as well. Feel free to reach out to one of us here, and we'll get you connected with the right person or assist in any way we can here. But Adam and the audience, I truly appreciate your time today, your partnership with the Payroll for Construction, the foundation family here. We can't thank you enough for the continued business that you guys do with us here.
Thank you, Alex. Enjoyed it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, all right, everyone here, thanks again for your time. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and let us know if there's anything else that we can do to help here.